Hey guys, today I want to give you kind of a brief introduction to the warm-up and activation sequence that I use before squatting and deadlifting. This is going to be useful for those of you that suffer from stability issues in the hole with your squats as well as knees collapsing. So kind of our main concepts that we're working with here is we want to activate both the internal and external rotators of the hips through multiple ranges of motion. So that way you're creating stability in through both femurs through the entire range of motion of your squat. And so as you can see here, what I'm doing is I'm alternating a sequence of an isometric hold both internally and externally using the foam pad and the strap around the knees, followed by 20 pulses, so actively engaging those muscles. This is the second half of that first position there, and what you're basically going to want to do is start for a minute, just holding constant tension into the strap. The pillow is the first one there. After that 1 minute hold, you want to actively pulse out into the strap or into the pillow, depending on what you're doing. Important things here is that you want to maintain foot position on the floor, and as much as you can, try and activate both sides at the same time. Um, for myself, I tend to have one hip that's a little bit more dominant, so if I don't pay enough conscious attention to it, then that side will start to work more efficiently than the other side, and I notice I don't get the same burn in that other hip. So as much as you can, try and consciously control that. The second position that you're going to do is this hips raised position. You want to keep your butt anywhere from 2-3 inches off the floor. We're not going up into a full hip bridge. You're just raising the hips off of the ground just slightly. Still trying to keep a neutral lower back and flat feet that are both facing forward. After that, you'll go into that strap. I just use a tie-down strap for my truck, but you can also use a seat belt. I've done this successfully using the hip circle, or even just slip knotting a regular training band around the knees. Just anything that has enough tension that you can press into it and not have it have too much give. So you're going to follow that with the same 20 pulses pushing outwards from the knees. You can also play a game of grab ass with yourself like I tend to do, just to make sure that you are getting proper glute activation on both sides. So a lot of that is going to come down to learning how to communicate with those muscles and to control them intentionally. The third position you're going to want to do is this knees up position. Here you're again just holding for 1 minute, and then following by 20 pulses. You'll notice that in this position, this tends to be the hardest for most people, myself included. You'll notice that your core starts to activate, as well as a little bit in through the lower back of the QL. That's not a bad thing, just be conscious of it and try not to let your lower back arch too much. The other thing to keep in mind is that you do want to keep both of the toes pulled up towards the shins, which you can kind of see me struggling with there as well. So again, after that, follow with 20 pulses, and we've gone through the 3 main ranges of motion for both these internal and external rotations. There we go. After you finish with that, the next thing that we're going to do is a femur rotation. So what we're doing here is we are basically sticking one leg up in the air, pulling the toes up towards the shins, and you want to aggressively internally and externally rotate each leg in that straight position. We're just going to go about 20 reps per side here. This is going to create stability in through the femurs. You may notice that one leg is a little bit more difficult to control than the other, but again, pay as much conscious attention to it as you can. We're going to follow this with a wishbone kick. With this movement here, you want to keep your knees pinched in together as hard as you possibly can, and then push your toes out away from each other while pulling them up towards your shins. So this is kind of a little bit of a difficult angle. I only filmed 2 sets here. You're going to want to do 4 sets of a 20-second hold with this movement. But as you can see, the feet are being pushed out away from each other, trying to keep the toes up into that position as well. This is actually pretty difficult movement to do, but it will definitely get everything firing in through the hips very well. So after you've done 4 sets of that, our next task is to reintegrate all of this activation into a dynamic movement pattern that then kind of mimics what we're going to be training for the day. I filmed this prior to squatting, so what I did is followed with a goblet squat. You can see some of them I paused just so I can feel the bracing and feel the tension between both legs. The last two I just hit as a regular squat. You'll want to finish with anywhere from 3 to 4 sets of 15 to 20 reps on this. Anyways, I hope that is helpful for you. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to like and subscribe to our channel. If you haven't done so already, check out our Facebook and our Instagram. And if you're interested in any of the programs we offer at the gym, check out our website at www.savagegym.com.
Can't be touched, can't be stopped, can't be moved, can't be rocked, can't be shook.